I welcome you all in our today's session, that is partially observable games. Chess has often been described as war in miniature, but it lacks at least one major characteristic of real wars, namely partial observability. In the fog of war, the existence and disposition of enemy units is often unknown until revealed by direct contact. As a result, warfare includes the use of scouts and spies to gather information and the use of concealment and bluff to confuse the enemy. Partially observable games share these characteristics and are thus qualitatively different from the games described in the preceding sections. In deterministic partially observable games, uncertainty about the state of the board arises entirely from lack of access to the choices made by the opponent. This class includes children's games such as battleships, where each player's ships are placed in locations hidden from the opponent but do not move, and Stratego, where piece locations are known but piece types are hidden. We will examine the game of Krugspy, a partially observable variant of chess in which pieces can move but are completely invisible to the opponent. The rules of Krugspy are as follows. White and black each see a board containing only their own pieces. A referee who can see all the pieces adjudicates the game and periodically makes announcements that are heard by both the players. On his turn, White proposes to the referee and any move that would be legal if there were no black pieces. If the move is in fact not legal because of the black pieces, the referee announces illegal. In this case, White may keep proposing moves until a legal one is found and learns more about the location of black pieces in the process. Once a legal move is proposed, the referee announces one or more of the following. Capture on square X if there is a capture, and check by D if the black king is in check, where D is the direction of the check and can be one of the knight, rank, file, long diagonal or short diagonal. In case of discovered check, the referee may make two check announcements. If black is checkmated or stalemated, the referee says so. Otherwise, it is black's turn to move. Initially, White's belief state is a singleton because black's pieces haven't moved yet. After White makes a move and black responds, White's belief state contains 20 positions because black has 20 replies to any white move. Keeping track of the belief state as the game progresses is exactly the problem of state estimation. We can map Krugspy state estimation directly onto the partially observable non-deterministic framework if we consider the opponent as the source of non-determinism. That is, the results of White's move are composed from the predictable outcome of White's own move and the unpredictable outcome given by Black's reply. Given the current belief state, White may ask, "Can I win the game?" For a partially observable game, the notion of a strategy is altered. Instead of specifying a move to make for each possible move the opponent might make, we need a move for every possible perceived sequence that might be received. For Kurzweil, the winning strategy or guaranteed checkmate is one that for each possible perceived sequence leads to an actual checkmate for every possible board state in the current belief state, regardless of how the opponent moves. With this definition, the opponent's belief state is irrelevant. The strategy has to work even if the opponent can see all the pieces. This greatly simplifies the computation. Here the figure 1 shows part of the guaranteed checkmate for the KRK, King and Rook against King, endgame. In this case, Black has just one piece, the King. So, the belief state for White can be shown in a single board by making or by marking each possible position of the Black King. So, figure here shows the part of a guaranteed checkmate of the KRK endgame, shown on a reduced board. In the initial belief state, Black's king is in one of the three possible locations. By a combination of the probing moves, the strategy narrows this down to 1. Completion of the checkmate is left as an exercise here. The general and/or search algorithm can be applied to the belief state space to find guaranteed checkmates. The incremental belief state algorithm mentioned in that section often finds mind game checkmates up to depth 9, probably well beyond the abilities of human players. In addition to guaranteed checkmates, Kurzweil admits an entirely new concept that makes no sense in fully observable games, that is, probabilistic checkmate. Such checkmates are still required to work in every board state in the belief state. They are probabilistic with respect to randomization of the winning player's moves. To get the basic idea, consider the problem of finding a lone Black king using just a white king. Simply by moving randomly, the white king will eventually bump into Black king, even if the latter tries to avoid this fate, since Black cannot keep guessing the right evasive moves indefinitely. In the terminology of probability theory, detection occurs with probability. The KBNK endgame, that is king, bishop and knight against king, is won in this sense. White presents Black with an infinite random sequence of choices, for one of which Black will guess incorrectly and reveal his position, leading to checkmate. The KBBK endgame, on the other hand, is won with probability 1 minus epsilon. White can force a win only by leaving one of his bishops unprotected for one move. If Black happens to be in the right place and captures the bishop, that is a move that would lose if the bishops are protected, the game is drawn. White can choose to make the risky move at some randomly chosen point in the middle of the very long sequence, thus reducing to an arbitrarily small constant but cannot reduce epsilon to 0. It is quite rare that the guaranteed or probabilistic checkmate can be found within any reasonable depth except in the endgame. Sometimes the checkmate strategy works for some of the board states in the current belief state but not others. Trying such a strategy may succeed, leading to an accidental checkmate. It is accidental in the sense that white could not know that it would be checkmate if black's pieces happen to be in the right places. Most checkmates in games between humans are of this accidental nature. This idea leads naturally to the question of how likely it is that a given strategy will win, which leads in turn to the question of how likely it is that each board state in the current belief state is true board state. One's first inclination might be to propose that all board states in the current belief state are equally likely, but this cannot be right. Consider, for example, white's belief state after black's first move of the game. By definition, assuming that black plays optimally, black must have played an optimal move, so all board states resulting from suboptimal moves ought to be assigned 0 probability. This argument is not quite right either, because each player's goal is not just to move pieces to the right squares but also to minimize the information that the opponent has about their location. Playing any predictable optimal strategy provides the opponent with information. Hence, optimal play in partial observable games requires a willingness to play somewhat randomly. This is why restaurant hygiene inspectors do random inspection visits. This means occasionally selecting moves that may seem intrinsically weak, but they gain strength from their very unpredictability because the opponent is unlikely to have prepared any defense against them. From these considerations, it seems that the probabilities associated with the board states in the current belief state can only be calculated given an optimal randomized strategy. In turn, computing that strategy seems to require knowing the probabilities of the various states the board might be in. This conundrum can be resolved by adopting the game theoretic notion of an equilibrium solution. An equilibrium specifies an optimal randomized strategy for each player. Computing equilibria is prohibitively expensive. However, even for small games and is out of the question for Kurzweil. Most systems prefer or perform bounded depth look ahead in their own belief state space, ignoring the opponent's belief state. Evaluation functions reassemble those for the observable game but include a component for the size of the belief state. Smaller is better. Now comes the card games. Card games provide many examples of stochastic partially observability, where the missing information is guaranteed randomly or generated randomly. For example, in many games, cards are default randomly or cards are dealt randomly at the beginning of the game, with each player receiving a hand that is not visible to the other players. Such games include bridge, whist, hearts, and some form of poker. At first sight, it might seem that these card games are just like dice games. The cards are dealt randomly and determine the moves available to each player. But all the dice are rolled at the beginning. Even though this analogy turns out to be incorrect, it suggests an effective algorithm. Consider all possible deals of the invisible cards. Solve each one as if it were a fully observable game, and then choose the move that has the best outcome averaged over all the deals. Suppose that each deal S occurs with probability P of S, then the move we want is average or argmax summation over S, P of S minimax result SA. Here we run exact minimax if computationally feasible. Otherwise, we run H minimax. Now, in most card games, the number of possible deals is rather large. For example, in bridge play, each player sees just 2 of the 4 hands. There are 2 unseen hands of 13 cards each. So the number of deals is 2613, which is equivalent to 10,40,600. Sorry, will be 1 crore 4,06,000. Solving even one deal is quite difficult, so solving 10 million is out of the question. Instead, we resort to the Monte Carlo approximation. Instead of adding up all the deals, we take a random sample of n deals where the probability of deal S appearing in the sample is proportional to P of S, that is argmax 1 by n summation from I is equal to 1 to n minimax result SIA. Notice that P of S does not appear explicitly in the summation because the samples are already drawn according to P of S. As n grows large, the sum over the random sample tends to the exact value, but even for fairly small n, say 100 to 1000, the method gives a good approximation. It can also be applied to deterministic games such as Kurzweil, given some reasonable estimate of P of S. For games like whist and hearts, where there is no bidding or betting phase before play commences, each deal will be equally likely, and so the values of P of S are all equal. For bridge, play is proceeded by a bidding phase in which each team indicates how many tricks it expects to win. Since players bid based on the cards they hold, the other players learn more about the probability of each day. Taking this into account in deciding how to play the hand is tricky. For the reasons mentioned in our description of Kirkspile, players may bid in such a way as to minimize the information conveyed to their opponents. Even so, the approach is quite effective for bridge. The strategy described in previous two equations is sometimes called averaging over clairvoyance because it assumes that the game will become observable to both players immediately after the first one. Despite its intuitive appeal, the strategy can lead one astray. Consider the following story here. Day 1. Road A leads to a heap of gold. Road B leads to a fork. Take the left fork and you will find a bigger heap of gold. But take the right fork and you will be run over by a bus. Day 2. Road A leads to a heap of gold. Road B leads to a fork. Take the right fork and you will find a bigger heap of gold. But take a left fork and you will be run over by a bus. Day 3. Road A leads to a heap of gold. Road B leads to a fork. One branch of the fork leads to a bigger heap of gold. But take the wrong fork and you will be hit by a bus. Unfortunately, you don't know which fork is which. Averaging over clairvoyance leads to the following reasoning. On day 1, B is the right choice. On day 2, B is the right choice. On day 3, the situation is the same as either day 1 or day 2. So B must still be the right choice. Now we can see how averaging over clairvoyance fails. It does not consider the belief state that the agent will be in after acting. A belief state of total ignorance is not desirable, especially when one possibility is certain death, because it assumes that every future state will automatically be one of perfect knowledge. The approach never selects actions that gather information, nor will it choose actions that hide information from the opponent or provide information to the partner, because it assumes that they already know the information, and it will never bluff in poker because it assumes the opponent can see its cards. So here in this video we have seen the description about, or we have discussed some partially observable games like Kirkspile and card games. Thank you.